Today, we are scratching an itch that really began when I first opened up this pot of Iris Solo Shadow Sheen from Merit. This is one of the most recent colors that I purchased. I had been testing a lot of Merit Beauty. I really started to wonder. Who's that girl? Am I still more of a Pat McGrath Glamazon makeup fan, or am I really moving into a Merit Clean Girl Beauty era? That is what we are going to explore today as I apply Merit Beauty on one side and Pat McGrath Labs on the other. And in the end, I am hoping to really have a better sense of where my makeup tastes are today. And I am definitely going to want to hear what you think. So I hope this sounds interesting to you. Let's get into talking about the products that are really going to serve as that foundation for me to build out these two different looks. Obviously, the focus of this experiment today is going to be the eyeshadow. That's really where this all began, with me being curious about this shade Iris in the Solo Shadow Sheen. It definitely does not look as lavender or purple as I had thought that it would. For the Pat McGrath eye, we are going to be using Mothership 1. The star of the show is this lilac dusk shade. There are those two foundational shades. It just does not look purple to me, which is so strange. Okay, what I want to do is pick some other shades from Mothership 1 that complement this color, for which I have a comparable color in the Merit eyeshadows. There are the shades from Mothership 1 that I really like to work with this lilac dusk. And now I'm going to pull some of these sheens and see if we've got anything that lines up nicely. Let's swatch Mink and Sartorial. Okay, so here's the shade Mink, which probably is the closest to the shade here from the Mothership 1 palette. And Sartorial is here. I think Buffed Out might be the closest thing to this shade from Pat McGrath Labs, meaning that this might have to serve as our transition shade. I do have kind of a gold shade. We do have a gold over here from Pat McGrath. Here we have those swatches from each of the brands. Over here, we've got a lineup of the Merit Shadow Sheens. And then over here, we've got some of the shades from Mothership 1. Let's get going with these. I'm spending way too much time talking and not doing makeup, so we're going to stop that right now. Today is really about just playing with makeup. I am just tapping in here with a Refer 16. Start working on our transition over here. While eyeshadow is kind of the focus and the inspiration for this, I also have mascara from both of these brands. I also have blushes and lip products. Now I'm going to do my transition shade over here, and I do have brush number 2 from Merit. I am just going to swirl in here to Sartorial. I don't think I've ever just tried to use this as a transition shade, so I don't know what's gonna happen here. Okay, and I may have picked up way too much, but can this be judgment free today, please? Oh boy. Yeah, I really, really overdid it. Oopsie. Hold on. I am going to just try to remove some pigment from my brush. I can hopefully just kind of buff out what I already have here. We may have to pull out a Q-tip to remove some of this product, but we'll see. These do shear out, so okay, I think we're close there. Let me build up a little bit more depth on this transition shade. Now we are going to go ahead and lay down in the center of the lid our sort of purple shade. I am going to stick to the center of the lid because we are going to add things in the inner and outer corner. What's interesting to me about these sheens is that right now on my eyes, I'm like, did I grab a different shade? Like, I cannot see a huge difference between those shades. Now I am going to pick up this shade and we are going to put that on the center of the lid. We are going to get to the outer corner. I am going to use mink over here. Here's what mink looks like. And if this shade also looks really, really close to the other sheens, then I would say that's a problem. Overall, for the shadow sheens. But maybe useful information for you. If you are considering picking some of these up, I think Merit has already started their Black Friday sale, which of course I don't need to take advantage of. I think I've got enough merit to last me for a while now. Now we are going to pick up this shade and put that in the outer corner on the Pat McGrath side. And I have a Refer 02 for that. This is more of a satin, but I feel like the color is close to mink. And so we are going to go ahead and use that in the outer corner. It's funny, as of right now, the shade that is most dissimilar is the shade that inspired this whole experiment. But now, somewhat against my better judgment, I am going to go with gold in the inner corner just because it is sort of the closest match that we have. So, yes, definitely warmer than what we are about to throw down on the Pat McGrath side. I gotta say, guys, this shade Iris is a disappointment. I am probably most disappointed in this shade Iris because I really had the biggest expectations for it. It was the sheen that I was most excited about buying. I'm just sort of like, it is not as purple as I thought it was going to be. It looks very purple lavender, okay, online, but it just is not reading that way on me. Picking up some of the gold now from the Mothership One palette. And I would say this is really where two roads diverged in the woods, right? I mean, there's a special shade being special. Now, would I normally put these two particular shades together? Probably not. Please do not come for me in my comments talking about how I'm putting shadows together that don't go together. Someone did leave a comment like that recently, and I was like, uh, okay. I didn't know we had rules here. Okay. I watch a lot of Katie Jane Hughes, and she preaches having fun and sometimes breaking the rules on purpose. I am going to attempt to make this look more purple after I get the fuzz out of my face. You know what? Let me use the brush this time. I have my Merit brush here. I am really glad that I got the number 2 brush in the winter set. If you plan on getting a lot of these shadow sheens or you already have them and you're using your regular brushes with them, you will have to let me know if you had a hard time cleaning the sheen product off of your natural haired brushes. I washed all of my brushes last weekend. This product really did not want to come off my Refer brushes. It did, but it made me nervous for a minute. So I like having a brush that I can use just with this product so that I don't risk damaging my Refer brushes. Okay, I don't think that that made it look more lavender or lilac. Let's maybe throw on a little bit more gold on this side. I'm trying to get this as close as possible. Although, truth be told, it probably would have been most appropriate to throw just one sheen down over here against like a full-blown Pat McGrath eye. We are just going to do some liner now using shadow. Let's go ahead and do mascara, and then we're going to get into complexion. I am going to curl my lashes and speed through that. Hang on to your hats. Okay, so two coats of both mascaras. This one is a little bit more volumizing, and this one I think is a little bit more lengthening, and I think this one went on better. I am going to use my Bottom Lash Mascara from Clinique. I feel like the gold is really taking over here. And so I am gonna pick up some more of that lilac dusk and tap over some of the gold. I think with that, guys, eyes are done. And now we are ready to move on to complexion. Yeah, this is going to be interesting because I am going to be putting head to head a foundation complexion product that I've decided I really, really dislike and one of my favorite foundations of all time. To make this a little bit more even Steven, I am going to take a product that some of you in my comments recommended when I first tried the Minimalist stick from Merit, and that is the Serum from Merit. I used to use this serum. I think it's largely a niacinamide serum. I think my skin is not super crazy about niacinamide, but one of you in the comments had mentioned that this stick performs way, 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 way better when this has been put down as a base. So we're gonna at least throw this down first on the Merit Foundation side, and then I'll decide if I want to do something over here too. Let's see, this is just a mini that I have of this. Squirt some into my hands. Oh, that might be too much. You know what? I'm going to do it on both sides. Let's do it on both sides. That may totally ruin the Pat McGrath foundation, which is fairly thin. You can see how red this has made me. When I tested this serum before, I liked the end result, but I thought it was weird that it made me this red. So that is why I moved on to other products. We need to hurry up and get our minimalist stick on. Hopefully I haven't waited too long here. Got my BK Beauty 101. Do think this is a less is more kind of situation with this stick. Some up here, cover the veins. Boop, boop. I will say, as of right now, this is the best this product has ever worked on my skin. So, to those of you who recommended putting Merit serum underneath, thank you. Apparently, that does make a big, big difference. Now, we are going to pull out my Pat McGrath Labs foundation. Yes, I've kept the box, even though I got foundation on it, because this box is so cool. Look. Boop. And then you pull it out, and it's so beautiful. Y'all, this is such a beautiful product. Excuse me while I totally fangirl over Pat McGrath's foundation. Stirring it up, shaking it up, because I don't know if you can hear it. Hold on. Very, very thin formula. I have way too much given the serum that I just put on. Pat McGrath foundation is a light to medium coverage foundation that is buildable. And Pat says that for her foundation, you can apply with your hands. So that's why I just went ahead and did that instead of Pulling out the brush, there is just our first layer there. I am feeling very greasy across the board, which is probably that serum underneath. You guys probably think I look perfectly dewy. Maybe it's just the curse of the close-up mirror. I am gonna put on some concealer from Pat McGrath over here. I am just gonna take some of this concealer and where is my concealer brush? I'm just gonna use this one. I got too much, so I'm just kind of picking some of it up with my finger. Okay. And I'm just using this brush to kind of skim this area. And I typically go kind of up into the eye right there to clean up. I'm gonna grab my Angie Hot and Flashy kitten paw brush now to kind of work that concealer in. And I'm kind of using this now to also just press in the other product. Maybe over here, I will attempt to apply a little bit of the stick as concealer. I just think it's probably a bad idea, but I am going to do it. And I'm just going to try tapping with my finger so that hopefully the warmth of my finger will sort of help the product sink in. And I kind of want to do a little bit more of my Pat foundation over here. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and do cream blush next. Box. Um, On the Pat McGrath side, I have this little cream blush duo that is a part of her Gilded Nirvana set. And these are the shades that I have. And I think I'm going to go with this pinkier shade. And then on the Merit side, I am going to use the Flush Balm in the shade Archival. Boop. And I am going to use my BK Beauty 109 on this side. I really do love these Flush Bombs because they do produce really just sort of a natural looking wash of color. They are easy, easy, easy to use, and I am trying to make myself not pick up more shades. See if I make it through the holiday season without buying more shades. Okay, so there we have archival on that side. And now over here, let's get going with Miss Pat. I am going to pick this up with a brush. This is a brush from KJH. That is Katie Jane Hughes's brand. This is definitely a brighter shade than archival. Show you what those look like swatch side by side, just so you can really, really tell. Not that you can't tell on my face, but hey, there are the two shades. This is archival, and this is the shade from Pat McGrath. Guys, I think it's called Hot Pink, but I could be mistaken. I'll put it on the screen. We are going to use the same powder across the board, and that is going to be the Kosas Cloud Set powder. I've been absolutely loving this. So I have a BK Beauty Precision Powder Brush. And if you're watching this the week of Thanksgiving, which is when I am filming this, BK Beauty brushes are also on sale right now. I highly, highly, highly recommend them for complexion. I haven't gotten into really testing any of their brushes for eyeshadow because I just love Rephr brushes so much for eyeshadow, which Rephr is also having a Black Friday sale right now. Who isn't having a Black Friday sale right now? Patty Alonso, who is someone who I follow here on YouTube, and she said Black Friday has become a season. It's no longer a day. And yeah, she was definitely right about that. I'm going to apply a little more blush now, in part because I feel like I lost some of the dewiness. We don't want to lose all of that. With these cream stick blushes, I like to blush, powder, and then blush. Is it wrong? Is it right? I don't know. It's just what I like to do, and I feel like it works. Works for me. So we are thoroughly blushed and we have lips, but as I have been sitting here, I've sort of thought to myself that in my attempt to stick with very similar tones, I have not truly Pat McGrathed it over here in terms of the eye look because the gold in particular is not the shade that I would have normally picked to go with this eye. And to be really true to this experiment and whether or not I am a Pat McGrath girl or a Merit girl, I have got to reach back into Mothership One and do what I really would have done if I were on my own putting together this look, and that is to have grabbed one of these and tapped it over the center of the lid. There are both of those. I am going to do this one here, which is this. I am going to put some of this in the center of the lid. Now this is much more of a Pat McGrath eye to me. We are just left with the lips now. That's going to be interesting. How do I do this? Over here, we are using the archival lip set. This is one of the sheer lip liners. On the Pat McGrath side, I have a lip liner in Divine Rose and then a lipstick in the shade Veiled Rose. Much drier formula and harder to apply than the Merit side, but it's probably going to stay on a lot longer. I am going to use the lip blush and archival. I love the lip blush formula. Please, Merit, sell the lip blushes as a part of your permanent collection. We would really appreciate that. This is the shade Veiled Rose. This is a part of her Satin Allure collection. So whereas this is a very matte lipstick, this one does have a little bit of a more sort of moisturized look. Now we can see with everything put on. And I have to say what I said in the very beginning, which is, guys, I don't think these look that different, right? Especially before I tapped in sort of that special shade from Pat McGrath to sort of mermaid this out a little bit. But I think here's what's going on. If I really wanted to merit this side, I would have probably just applied one of the sheens, and that would have come out much lighter overall than what I have going on over here. I mean, this is definitely a smokier, I think, merit look, which is good to know that you can do that, right, with the shadow sheens. But I think what happened is that I basically Pat McGrathed my merit side. I definitely prefer this side because of the special shade that I added to the center of the lid. It just sort of pops more and looks more interesting. Whereas to me, this eyeshadow over here just looks kind of dull and boring. You know, in terms of the lips, I think I actually prefer the Merit side. But I just love, love, love this lip blush. I love this shade Archival. You know, the mascara, I do like something that gives me more sort of fluff and volume like the Pat McGrath. But guys, I gotta say, this Merit mascara, it really does separate lashes so beautifully. I'm trying to get close so that you can see that. So again, it's not creating a lot of volume or anything, but it really does separate out every lash without you having to work at it. It goes on so, so beautifully. So guys, that wraps up our little experiment. I think that really what I learned today is that aside from how I feel about sort of individual categories of products and what I prefer, I Pat McGrathed the Merit side. Okay, I did. This eye is definitely a smoky eye, I think, for Merit. And if I were really staying true to the Merit aesthetic, I probably would have used just one solo sheen, but it was just my instinct to apply multiple shades to create sort of a more dimensional look. And I think probably that doesn't really work with the shadow sheens, to be honest with you. This, I think, ended up kind of, muddy and or boring. And over here, I love what happened when I added that final special shade to sort of the center of the lid. That is the way I want my eyeshadow to look every day of the week. I don't care if I'm just going to the grocery store. That's who I am. So I think I have really learned through this that I definitely lean more towards the fun eyeshadow, things that are a little bit more interesting, and lean more towards the Pat McGrath style. Thank you for sort of traveling on this little journey with me, doing this little experiment. I hope that you enjoyed it, and maybe it even encourages you to pull out some of your products and just play and learn more about what you prefer. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope if you enjoyed this video, you will give it a big thumbs up. It really helps my channel a lot, and that you will subscribe if you're not subscribed. Again, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.